Hey, I'm Zhr and I'm chatting with Milky.
Before we get into the song, what prompted this new solo project? How was ZHR born?
I've been wanting to do solo stuff for a really long time. Northeast is I love Northeast. It's like where I started, but we've been going for 12 years now, and I don't know. It's a very collaborative process, and I guess doesn't always necessarily represent the music that you are listening to at the time, or people just do naturally change, and I still love dance music. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to try, and I kind of felt like I'd gotten to a level where I could write these songs. They were starting to happen anyway. I'd sit down to try and write something, and for some reason 130 BPM wasn't hitting me, and so 80 BPM was. I think it was pretty natural. It just happened, and then I all of a sudden found that I'd written a few songs that I was like, oh, I actually really like these, and they were kind of had a little bit more vulnerability, a little bit more of where my life was sitting. I guess that's the other thing with something like Northeast. It's it doesn't necessarily have to be my real personal experiences anymore. It has the parameters where it can exist, and it's you can kind of just really play a character within what it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I can go to a party, I can do whatever, lights, smoke, dance, whatever, it fits. Whereas this stuff is kind of a little bit more on my own personal my own personal experiences, memories, thoughts, that type of stuff. And it's also easier to go into your own personal life when it's just you get to control where you go. Does that make sense? And there's no risk of someone else taking it over. Sorry, that's a long answer for
I love it. I love the detail. So, the debut single, Something Ain't Right, so exciting, such a great song. Can you kind of tell me a bit about what inspired the conceptual nature of the song and that kind of exploration?
Trying to think where it first started. There was another song that I'd written where I used the same chords. These chords are really there's an LFO in them, and that makes it just rise and fall naturally. So you'll be playing it, it's whoa, whoa, whoa kind of thing. Nice. And I guess it just has that kind of I guess hip hoppy feel. The drums kind of came next, which is pretty boom bappy. And funnily enough, the really annoying guitar line that's down, 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 down. And what's interesting is that that guitar line is quite dissonant. It doesn't really fit. I'm not sure it's even actually in key. And it kind of played on something that I think about a lot in music now, which is contrast and having things that don't always match, but how it can be really nice. And I think there's artists who really capture this duality in music and in theme really well. And also that dynamic is things that people really resonate with just naturally, whether it's in TV and film, whether it's in music, whether it's in whatever, people like dynamics. And I guess I just started thinking about what is it that I could write when there's a song that's feeling kind of fun and cruisy and chill. For me, it's the type of song that, instrumentally, that you can kind of wind your windows down and cruise to. It's kind of got the G-funk siren in it in the chorus, and it's whatever. So singing something that's it's not something's not right, which is very similar to say something isn't good, or I'm not feeling great, or whatever it is, was a really interesting concept to riff off on that instrumental. And sometimes, I don't know, for me, sometimes there's lyrics first, and then I'll bring that and turn that into a song. Sometimes there's melodies first. This one was instrumentation or instrumental first. I just started playing on what can I kind of do in the vein that's kind of still fun. So you're getting these things that are zoom, zoom, kind of a little bit cheesy, but fun and playful. But then you're talking about almost heading towards a car crash of a relationship where you're oh shit, this isn't right. And I think also I was single at the time, and I think I was starting to date, and just when you start to feel oh, maybe this is good, and then you're nah, it's not quite right, it's not feeling good. So think it kind of captures that feeling.
And so what kind of prompted this like foray into like more like hip hop, R&B, alt pop sounds for this project?
A few things. I used to listen to hip hop almost exclusively. My older brother was like really into like gangster rap and gangster rap back in the day when it was like the Yin Yang Twins whisper song, or like Killer Cam, or like Purple, I think Cameron Purple Haze, Nelly with songs like Grills, Chingy, like just like really like horrible lyric, like yeah, chauvinistic crap basically. But like it's got this weird like fondness in my memory, as I used to like take a bus a lot and I'd have my iPod and I'd just like be listening to these music that's really turbo.
Yeah.
And I guess like that kind of ended up leading into some more like more like, I'm trying to remember what the term was. It was like conscious hip hop, where you found like people like Common, and he had a few kind of records that ended up leading into like Kanye West's early stuff, but these really like pretty warm chorded songs where like people can rap, but then there's this really like soulful melody that kind of hits you in the chest. And yeah, I guess I like, so on one side, like I grew up listening to like that style of music.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going away for like school exchange to Germany, met this guy who introduced me to Coldplay, who I like also like blew my mind. And then that led into like more Foals and that type of stuff. And then the band was kind of born. So I ended up like going on that journey with a group of guys who were, you know, loving indie music at the time. And that led into dance. So we kind of like, you know, I found something new, got excited by it, and then found like-minded people and kind of got whisked away. And I found probably like maybe like 5 years into the band, I started like missing R&B and rap and like that old hip hop, and just like I guess started listening to it. And then at that point also, like, you know, your DSPs were kind of starting to come up, playlists were becoming more prominent, and I really started finding myself just like listening more to like that music than to like necessarily just like dance every day type of thing. Yeah, I'd say like playlists are very much so like now, which sounds like such a plug, but like playlists have really like changed how I think. And it's really cool in that like they also play on the fact that I'm into like a lot of different music, like most people are now. But like you can kind of, it isn't just as specific as like you've got like your rock music and your dance music and whatever. You can really like bring these influences together. I feel like that probably like also helped, because it kind of felt like, oh, I can exist as a dance artist as well as you know, an old R&B, old pop, or whatever we call it these days. Yeah, I think that was kind of the main, like, I mean, other than the fact that I just like do love the music, I think that's how it kind of came to that, in an extremely long-winded way. I'm sorry.
I love it. So there's also a music video for the song. Can you kind of talk me through how much you like conceptualizing the clip, and also the visual identity that you're building for ZHR?
So this one was shot with my friends Joel Fenton, Jordan Kay, and Liam. Yeah, I guess like when I first kind of, I guess when we were first talking about a film clip, I have pretty like strong opinions when it comes to clips, in that like, you know, unless you have artist who can act, which I'm not an actor, or you have, I guess like someone with like a really strong concept who is like willing to commit and make it work, and like also like a big budget, you know, like you kind of can't make, in my opinion, like story clips work. It just like they usually don't. Yeah, I don't really like them personally. And I think like, you know, I preach this a lot to like to artists that we work with and on the roster and stuff. It's like, you know, I often think it's more impactful to, I guess, like play to strength. For this clip specifically, I love colors, I love like pretty things, and I wanted to I guess like use that rather than like, and focus on that rather than try and focus on me trying to be charismatic for an entire clip. When, you know, like, yeah, when you're not like a trained actor or something, it's just like, I've found it personally hard in clips in the past. So yeah, the idea was that I kind of set parameters saying like, I want the shots to be pretty. I want to look what I think is cool, with kind of more bright, colorful clothing. And I want movement in every clip. So whether it's a zoom in, whether it's the background, whether it's like me moving and dancing and doing whatever, that was kind of that was the parameters for the clip. And then the other thing that I was stressing is that I want it to try and be as much to my personal personality, to my personality as it possibly can be. Because I think in the past with clips, it's like, it's very much so representing the band, you know what I mean? It's about representing 6 people, not just me. And so, yeah, this was kind of more about trying to be like, I'm a dork, I'm a goofball, and like there are definitely serious sides to my personality, but like I like to just be silly, and like, so trying to have that come through as well, rather than like staunch seriousness or like kind of aggressive energy or something. I just wanted it to be kind of like a bit of fun. Yeah, I kind of took that to Joel and Jordan and Liam, and then they found the spots and they kind of did the rest. I kind of wore the clothes that I own, that I like love. And yeah, it all worked out, I think.
So you touched on it earlier, kind of like having more control, but how do you find it differs, like writing and recording in a band environment with Northeast Party House versus solo, where you are like completely in charge of the process and outcome?
It's really rewarding, like, and not that it's not with the band, like it's really great getting to write with people, and there's a lot of collaboration that's seeming to happen in our Australian industry that's been happening in other industries or in other territories for a while. And so, yeah, it's not that collaboration is not rewarding. Well, Northeast operates as a democracy, or we try to at least, and that often involves someone bringing a song into the band and then people working on it and kind of trying to make it better. Whereas, you know, it doesn't always mean that your ideas are floating to the top, or, you know, you might have written the song and feel like that's the right way to go about it, but someone else, or, you know, the group might have other ideas. So it's been incredibly rewarding, and like just like really fun. It's also a lot more reliant on yourself, you know, you're more accountable. So those times where you're like, you know, maybe I'll make a drum sound and I'll, you know, just be like, I don't need to go in and make it sound great because we've got people like Mal in the band, who is a professional mixer and producer, or, you know, Sean in the band, who is also, so like, you know, I can rely on them to do like work that I don't want to do. Whereas in this instance, it's like, it's me, and I get to shape the sounds that I want to, that I'm motivated to shape, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's just, I guess it's just like, it's yours, if that makes sense. It's all yours. And so then you're like more like precious about it in some ways, but it also makes it, go into more on it.
So
if that makes sense.
No,
I hope.
You're making sense, don't worry. Is there like a particular like line or lyric from the song that you'll find will get like stuck in your head more often than not, or maybe one that you're most proud of?
Ooh, good question. The sudden chilling in the night for some reason sticks in my head a lot. I don't think it's the best lyric at all, but for some reason that does pop in my head a lot. The one that's probably like the most funny to me, or like, is like the Blues Clues line. We just used to, so we're like half American, so I used to go to the States a fair bit, and I'd go and sit in my nana's lounge room, and they'd have cable, and we didn't have Foxtel or anything like that growing up. So it was like all of a sudden this like treasure chest of TV that we could access, and like, seeing things like Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, and there were all these shows that you kind of got to start watching that didn't exist as much back home. And Blues Clues, for some reason, was one of those ones that I was like obsessed with as a young kid. And I guess like, when I was like thinking about references or like how you want to tie things in, I guess it feels like a small nugget of like a piece of my memories and fond memories, because we didn't get to, having a grandparent who's not in the same country as you don't get to really have as much of a connection with them in some ways. That distance is sometimes hard. So yeah, it kind of feels like a random and like a commercial piece, which is random, but like a connector to them as well. Yeah.
So you formed 7/7 alongside John Halstead, helping new artists with the development of their own careers. But how has that kind of look into the workings of the industry influenced your own kind of artistry and approach?
To be honest, like the thing that it has made me the most is like way more appreciative of everybody else who works in the industry. I think it's really easy as an artist to feel alone, and I think there's reasons for that as well. And I do think that in a lot of ways our industry is designed to separate the artist from the industry, and some of those reasons are good and some of them I think are bad. I won't go into that. But it's just, yeah, I think maybe it's shaped the approach in the sense that I'm probably more aware of like wanting things to be maybe more poppy in some ways, or like there's a focus. I'm not just like, as much as I do love just writing for the sake of it, like I am trying to write more pop songs rather than, or like they're not pop, but they're, I'm trying to write songs that I think will work rather than writing just because I'm like, I love making music. So it's like, I would say in some ways it's much more focused. I would say that getting to work with the artists that we get to work with and seeing how they operate, seeing what has connected with people has definitely informed how I've been writing recently, and especially in production as well. It's a really amazing thing that I don't think the artist really gets to participate in our industry, is like listening to other artists' songs. I know you get to see the stuff that comes out, but like you don't usually get to see the journey of like what's there, if that makes sense. So I get to like listen to our artists, hear their influences, see where they're coming from, listen to, it could be anywhere from, a few tracks to like 10, 20 songs, and then help them to pick, what we think is going to be the best received. That's not something that other artists really get to do. So I find that really exciting and has been super rewarding for me. Yeah, other than that, like, it's hard to say in terms of what it's informed for me outside of that, other than just like maybe solidifying as well what I feel like I know and what I think will work. And part of that has been from experience from Northeast. Part of that has been just experiencing managing and now being this label as well. But yeah, other than that, I'm not sure. Like there are definitely other things that I think it's been really great for as well. And that's, stuff like getting to kind of remember what it's like to be an artist, and constantly having these like epiphany moments where I'm like kind of seeing both sides. I'm finding really like, really rewarding, to be honest, and like really like kind of eye-opening in a beautiful way, in the sense of like life is just it's so easy to just think of life as like it's your experience and it's very specific to like one lens, and then you get to see like this snippet of another lens and you're like, oh, that's right, like maybe I'm being a dick here, or like, that I find that stuff really, it's really rewarding, maybe in like a self-aware sense, and trying to, because that's the other thing, in being on the industry side, it's so easy to forget what it's like to be an artist, and like it's really easy to disengage with the emotional turmoil that an artist just goes through naturally from being an artist. So it's informed a lot. I hope that explains some of it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure you don't want to give like too much away, but what do you have in store for the rest of the year?
Working on some new music, and then just like, from like a label side, we've just signed another artist that we're really excited about. We've got some awesome artists on the roster who are coming, getting close to kind of releasing, that I'm like unbelievably excited about. We get to work with some crazy talented people, and I think it's going to blow people's minds. So just getting to have that music out there and like people see the hard work that you've been doing is like really exciting as well. So I think that is what is coming up.
Awesome. Excited.
Yeah. Ooh, God, I'm going to say my parents, to be honest. They're both like classical trained musicians, and my little brother, who's going to be called Forrest Claudette. You'll hear about him in a bit, but he's just like a musical force and like one of the most beautiful kids in the world, and smart and emotional and crazy talented with a crazy voice, and he continually blows my mind and makes me want to be a better artist too. So them. Damon Albarn. I would love to work with Damon. I've wanted to work. Yeah, I feel like he's like the ultimate cross-genre player. He's done it all, and I think that I'd love to pick his brain, but also work with him and just have some fun and do something wild. I would say like maybe like Channel Orange, Frank Ocean. I think that really. It changed. I mean, I think that changed the landscape for a lot of R&B music here, more everywhere. Yeah, I'd probably say that. I would say Love Actually. I'd redo the Love Actually thing, and it'd be fun. Hannah Montana. That was another one that I saw in the States when I was a young boy, and it just like, Oh, good one. What's it called? There's a song by 213, which is like Snoop Dogg, Warren G, and Nate Dogg. I think it's called Area Codes. And again, it's like one of these lyrics it's one of those songs with lyrics that are like, have aged horribly and are, like objectifying and horrible. But Nate G is an unbelievable singer, and he had this vocal hook in there that just always got me in the chest. So I'd say Area Codes. I'm going to say one of the best concerts I've been to in recent history is Genesis. I just saw Genesis Owusu at the Forum, and I was blown away. I just thought it was excellent. The playing, excellent. The concept, excellent. His stage presence, his execution was awesome. I just thought it was, amazing. The first thing I ever paid for myself was Usher. It was Usher. It was called U-Turn, and I went to buy like the album, and I saw like Insanity. Lol, there was like a deal, and I was like, oh, cool, I'll buy this thing for like $5, $10, whatever it was, instead of paying what you'd usually pay. And it turned out to be like a single EP, so it had like 4 versions of U-Turn and something else. I was like pretty disappointed, but that's the first thing I paid for. Oh, Spice Girl. Probably Cranky Spice. Just like, don't worry. I think like don't stress. Just do it. Back yourself, and just who cares as well. So generic and boring, but I reckon they're powerful stuff. Well, the moment was when I was in Germany with my friend Joel. He was my best friend when I was there, and he played guitar and sang. And we used to go to this little shop across the road from school, and I think it was called Schlecker. And I'm pretty sure it's called Schlecker. And basically it was just like a little shop where you could buy sweets and shit. And he used to play guitar and sing there. And I remember just being like, whoa, this is like amazing. This is so cool. I can't believe he can do this. And it was kind of there that I was like, well, maybe I want to like sing. And then we ended up like doing a song together, and he was like just super encouraging and warm, and like he was like, man, you can sing, like you should definitely like do more of this. And then I did. So yeah, I really owe it all to him. Thanks, Joel.